Hi, Tam here. So today I'd like to talk to you about selfishness. Selfish people. How to deal with people who are selfish. Now, wherever you are in the world, I'm sure you have encountered selfish people. But how do you deal with them? And how do you prevent them from affecting your life in a negative way? I mean, selfish people are people who are self-absorbed, and in a way they truly believe that, they matter more than anybody else. They are the center of the universe, and everything revolves around them. Now, let me tell you a story that happened to me recently, and that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video today. So I went to work some few days ago in a hospital. So just to give you some background, I work as an ER doctor in different hospitals. So some few days ago, I went to this hospital, to work in their ER as an ER doctor. I've worked there before. It's a very busy hospital. It's a very busy ER. And it's a very large ER as well. Anyway, I went there. I was working a 12-hour shift. My shift started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was finishing at 10 o'clock at night. 12 hours, no lunch break, right? So you work right through. It was a weekend. So it was last weekend. If it's a day shift, like the shift I did, 10 in the morning to 10 at night, it is rare. Actually, it has never happened that I have left at 10 o'clock at night. So if it's a day shift, I will start at 10 in the morning, finish at 10 p.m. But usually at 10 p.m., I will just carry on until 10:30. That's usually when I finish. So I will stay an extra 30 minutes because at that time, usually 10 o'clock at night, it's very busy, So usually I will stay for about 30 minutes to an hour. It has happened before that I stayed for more than 1 hour, right? And I don't mind, I mean, look, it's very busy and I'm getting paid by the hour. So, it's not like I'm doing it for free, they're going to pay me, Yeah. But what I'm going to tell you is this. So the other day, I was working there in that ER, and I started at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I worked right through. It was very busy, actually. And then we were 3 doctors on the floor. Now, we were 3 doctors during the day. One of the doctors started at 7 a.m., so left at 7 p.m. And now we were left with 2 doctors, another lady doctor and myself, right? We treating patients. And then at about, I would say 9:15. Yeah, I think it was about 9:15. Between 9:15 and 9:30 comes this patient. It's a 2 or 3-year-old toddler, right? I think 2.5. That comes brought in by the mother, right? So the mother comes in, and, I'm going to keep it short. The mother tells me that, yes, so my child, right? My child was having a respiratory tract infection. I took my child to a family physician, a family doctor. The doctor also gave the child some antibiotics. The mother did mention that the child is allergic to penicillin. I'm not sure what happened. There must have been some kind of miscommunication problem, but the family doctor gave the child some Augmentin. Augmentin is a strong antibiotic which contains penicillin. So the mother went home and started giving antibiotic to the child. So now the child had a severe anaphylactic reaction to the antibiotic because, the child is allergic to penicillin and has been given penicillin. So the fingers were swollen, the hands were swollen, up to the wrists. The feet, the toes were swollen as well, right? And the child was hypersalivating a little bit, but otherwise happy, in a good mood, completely alert, not in distress at all, not in respiratory distress. What was strange is that the child could not walk at all. And that was one of the main complaints of the mother. She said, my child, ever since that first dose of antibiotic, has not been able to walk. So it was clear on examination that the child was unable to walk. The child could not even stand up. And then I did some few tests. It was clear that the child had some neurological fallouts, right? Anyway, I started treatment, treatment for an anaphylactic reaction, give the child some adrenaline, IM, give the child some promethazine, Phenergan, and then, we continued treatment, and I continued observing the child, Now, by that time, it's about 9:40. By the time I've given treatment and, I've identified the problems and everything, right? And now the other lady doctor, right? And I found that unbelievable. I mean, in terms of selfishness, how more selfish can you be? So this is what happened. So anyway, 9:40, she comes to me, the other doctor, the lady doctor, and she says, I see that, you're leaving at 10 o'clock. And I said, yeah, because, I came at 10 a.m., so my shift finishes at 10. Yeah, but, you're leaving at 10 o'clock, and, this child is taking so much time. Why don't you just leave this child and then, basically push the queue and see some of the other patients, so that, we can free the ER and empty this ER, because it's very busy, and I'm going to be alone after 10. She was going to be alone after 10, but that's how it works. There's one doctor at night doing the rest of the night after 10 or after 11. But I found that statement profoundly disturbing. I just looked at her. I found it very odd to register. Like she's a doctor asking another doctor to abandon the child because it's taking a lot of time, and I should just see some of the other patients. And the way she rationalized the whole thing is that some of these patients, it looks like quick cases. They don't look like they're very, very sick. So maybe if I just leave the child and I see some of the other patients, I could just clear the queue faster. And then when I leave, basically, she's going to have an easier life because there'll be less patients and, she can then maybe, catch a break, get some rest, whatever, What do you mean? You want me to leave this child and see other patients? Yeah, because, you're leaving at 10 o'clock. And I told her, look, listen, this child has an anaphylactic reaction to penicillin because the child is allergic to penicillin. On top of that, there is a high suspicion of Guillain-Barré syndrome. Because at that time, I was now quite concerned that, we could be an overlapping situation of a penicillin anaphylactic reaction and Guillain-Barré syndrome. And Guillain-Barré syndrome, not to go too much into the medical details of the condition, but Guillain-Barré syndrome can be quite a serious condition. You get an ascending paralysis, meaning it will start from your feet going up. You're getting paralyzed. So at first, you can't really move your toes, you can't really move your feet. You've got some neurological deficits there. And then it progresses up to your knees, and then later on it goes up all the way to your hip, where you can't move your legs at all and you can't walk. Or if you're not completely paralyzed, you might get some kind of, if not paralysis, then paresis. It makes it very, very difficult to move and to walk. And it's like you have 50 kilograms attached to your feet, right? You can't move, And the danger of Guillain-Barré syndrome is that because it's an ascending paralysis, if you're lucky enough, it could stop at the hip, or it would carry on, and by the time it reaches your diaphragm and your chest, basically, you go into respiratory failure. And you can't breathe anymore. And now it's a serious problem because you need to be intubated, put on a ventilator and stuff like that, right? And the worst situation with Guillain-Barré syndrome is that there is no treatment for it. You have to wait for it to pass. So once you are affected by it, you must just make sure that you will not go into respiratory failure and monitor you and keep you in hospital, sometimes for weeks. And then you're going to regain your neurological functions and you'll be able to walk again and go back to normal. You might remain with some neurological deficits a bit, You'll be able to walk, but it might be difficult to walk, possibly for the rest of your life. Your hands, your arms are back to almost normal, but it could be, there will be some degree of loss of power, in some cases. In other cases, you go back to normal completely. But that's the situation I was dealing with, right? A 2.5-year-old, a 2.5-year-old child with an anaphylactic reaction to penicillin, which in itself is a serious emergency because, if anaphylactic reaction, the danger again is that as you're swelling up, your hands are swelling up, the feet were already swollen up. The danger is that your throat, your airways are going to swell up. And they're going to swell up to the point of obstructing the airway. And then you won't be able to breathe. And you will die. Right? That is the major cause of death in anaphylactic shock. Airway obstruction, you can't breathe, you die. And and the only way to reverse that is by a series of drugs that we give, right? So adrenaline being the first one. Maybe you've seen kids, with an adrenaline pen, an epinephrine pen, right? An EpiPen. And, you give a shot of epinephrine, the IM, and then, the symptoms are going to get better quite quickly, And then there's another set of drugs that you give. There's an whole algorithm, protocol, right? Where you give adrenaline, you give promethazine, you give a steroid, Solu-Cortef or Solu-Medrol, you give an antihistamine, you give ranitidine, so there's an whole set of drugs that you give, step by step, and then, so you follow the protocol basically, right? But now I had this situation with this kid, so I told that doctor, listen, yes, he's very busy. He's going to be busy for some time. He's been busy the whole day. That is the nature of the ER. This child is a little toddler, 2.5-year-old, severe penicillin anaphylactic reaction, possibly a Guillain-Barré syndrome overlapping. That is the most serious case in the ER right now. Because, I've gone through all the files. I always do the round as the patients come in all the time. I said, that is the most serious case right now. And you're saying that I should leave this case for later. Push the queue, see other patients. Right? So that by the time I leave, then I can leave you here. The queue will be, there'll be less patients. Everything will be nice and rosy, and we can now go back to the child. Oh, no. Okay, no, then, yes, you can continue with the child. I wasn't asking for your permission, lady. I was trying to put some sense into your brain. But that's very selfish. That is the embodiment of selfishness, right? You're just thinking about yourself. Unfortunately, because the child did not have medical aid, I had to now transfer the child to a public hospital. So now I had to contact the hospital, speak to the ER doctor on duty in that hospital, then organize an ambulance to come to my ER and go to their ER, write a referral letter, complete my notes and all that stuff, all the paperwork, So it takes time. So by the time I was done with everything, it was 10 past 10, right? The child was responding well to the medication. The swelling was decreasing in both hands and feet, and the ambulance was in its way to take the patient to the ER in the public hospital nearby, right? So I was happy from that point of view. By then it was 10 past 10. So I could have stayed longer and see some more patients, right? Because that's usually what I do. I just stay a bit longer and, I try to empty as many beds as I can. But, what that doctor said left kind of a sour taste in my mouth, right? So I then proceeded to take my bag, put it over my shoulder, looked at the nurses, and told them, "It's been a pleasure as usual." And I walked out, back to my car, and I drove home. Hey, I was supposed to leave at 10, right? Anyway, it's not like, I left the ER and there were a lot of patients needing emergency treatment. No, number one, like I said before, the patients in the ER were all green or yellow patients, and from a trauma point of view, nothing more than P3s, And plus, what's funny is that the ER has got a contingency plan. Should there be like 1, 2, 3, or 4 major emergencies and you're alone, there is a contingency plan. There is an ER doctor on standby, right? There is an ER doctor on standby, on the roster, that knows that, I'm on standby tonight. Yes, I'm at home, I'm relaxing, I'm watching a movie, I'm doing whatever I want. But should there be an emergency, I should be ready to come to the ER. So that guy on standby will be near the hospital for that day, for that night, right? Plus, there is a unit manager who is a doctor. So should you need another doctor on top of the standby doctor, you can call the unit manager, who lives around the corner as well. And there is a number of permanent ER doctors. These are doctors who are contracted to that specific hospital. So should there be a major catastrophe, you have at your disposal the standby doctor, the unit manager, 3, 4, or 5 permanent doctors, so there's a contingency plan. And like I said, when I left, the situation was, to be honest, yes, it was busy, but it was under control, So anyway, that was my story, man. Selfish people, man. Whatever you do, whatever job you have, whatever you do in your life, you might be a student or, you will always encounter selfish people, People who expect you to do more than you're supposed to do for them, for their own comfort, right? You give them a hand, and they try to take your entire arm. That defines them. I'm sure you might have experienced it as well. So yes, every doctor leaves at the end of their time. So if they do 8-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts, when their time comes to an end, they leave. But you're known to stay behind and sometimes to remain 30 minutes, 1 hour, or even 2 hours behind. just to help. So now it's almost expected of you. Oh no, I'm leaving, it's my time. You know? You never stay behind when it's your time. You've never seen a single patient 1 minute after your time, like a new patient, after your time has come to clock out? Never. So why are you expecting this of me? Call the standby doctor on call if you can't cope. Right? So nobody is really commending you for staying behind all the time. But when you don't want to stay behind because you have other things to do, now they're surprised. Oh, but why? You know, I mean, that's just crazy. You know, that's strange, right? And you might have encountered them everywhere. You invite them out. They never want to pay or contribute to the bill. You've gone 10 times out with them. You guys have eaten out for lunch 10 times and they've never offered to pay the bill. Why? I mean, they're making good money. They might be better off than you. They will never offer to pay. Why? Because they know that you will pay in the end if they don't pay. Because they know that, you're decent. They know that you are a kind person. And they're going to pounce on your kindness, and use you for their own benefit. So they know that when the bill comes, they could just say, oh, but I don't have my credit card with me, or they could just disappear to the bathroom just when the waiter is about to come with the bill, or the waitress, And they know that in the end, you're going to pay, because you will never, as a decent person, you will never really confront them and say, hey, I think you should pay today. Or I think we should split the bill today. No, You give them a hand, they take the entire arm. So the way to deal with these people, right, is first of all, avoid them as much as you can. If you can avoid them, avoid them. You must run away from negativity. You must run away from negative people. Run away. If you can run away from them, run away. They are infesting your life. They are infesting your mind. They are polluting your positive energy. If there is a door open, or if there is a door or a window there, open it, go through it, close it, and leave them there. Now, if you can't run away from them because you have to be with them at work, or at school, or in whatever environment you are, and you unfortunately have to deal with them every day, then deal with them. Then deal with them and simply refuse to cave in to their demands, to their games, to their mind tricks. You're in a restaurant, you're having lunch, you're meeting one of those people there, selfish people. You decide to have lunch together. If you know that they've got the habit of trying to put their bill on you, when you order your food, tell the waiter straight away or the waitress straight away that 2 separate bills, please. Thank you. Done. You got your bill. We're happy. Or if it is at the end when the bill comes and somebody tries to disappear to the bathroom, just tell the waiter, 2 separate bills, please. And if they brought the bill already, tell them, no, it will be 2 separate bills, thank you. And then you pay your share, and you leave it like that. And when they come back, they'll be like, oh, yes, we do. That's what we have to do. I mean, yes, you're a decent human being, you're a kind human being, but don't let people abuse you. Don't let people take advantage of you. Don't let people, take your kindness as a weak point. It's very nice to help. You grow internally when you help somebody else, but there is a limit to there's a difference between helping somebody and clearly seeing that, they are abusing your friendship to get what they want. Right? If you are in a relationship and your partner, your date, your girlfriend or boyfriend is selfish, identify that and get out. You need to get out. And it's easy to identify, You're in love with that person, but that person just doesn't love you back. You are infatuated with that person. You're always texting, but that person never initiates texting, right? So if you're a man and you're falling in love with this woman, and you're at the beginning of the relationship, and you're the one who's always texting, always calling, and she never initiates contacts, most probably she's not feeling the same way you're feeling about her, or at least not the same intensity. She could even be selfish. She never ever offers to pay when you go out. Not even for a bottle of water. But she's working. She's making good money. Obviously, she can afford a bottle of water, but she never even tries to meet you halfway or, it's all good and nice to be a gentleman, but, there is limitations to it. Yes, of course, I'm inviting you on a date for the first time. I might just pay for the bill, but because I'm inviting you. But if you're going to be together for 3 months and you've never, ever contributed or even suggested that, hey, you know what, I can pay for this coffee today. Come on, right? So these are selfish people. And selfish people, right, they will never find happiness. Because for you to be happy, right, you can only be truly happy when you have made other people happy. So no matter how rich you are, no matter how wealthy you are, no matter how much power you have, if you only make people miserable, if you always make your employees miserable, if you're very selfish, it's always about you, it's all about you, right? You don't care about other people, then it's impossible for you to be happy, right? Yes, you have the power, yes, you have the wealth, but you can't be happy. Because those around you cannot be happy to be treated like that. Yes, they are there, they're working for you because they need to work for you, because they need the money. Yes, your entourage is surrounding you because they have to do that, because, you're the boss. They work for you. So people will pretend to like you, to love you. But you will know deep in your heart that no one likes you. No one loves you. And because deep down in your inner self you know that, you cannot be happy. Now, right? Be a better person. Let us all become better people. If you always take the other into consideration, if we always think about how is my behavior, how are my actions affecting the other person, the minute you think like that, I think, automatically, you have grown to another level, emotionally and spiritually to some extent. The minute you realize that, what I am doing might affect other people negatively. I could be doing the same differently. I don't have to be in the corridor of my building or my hotel having a loud conversation with a friend or family or on the phone for 15 minutes, not caring about all the other 6, 8 rooms in the corridor. That's selfish, So we must always think about other people, right? We must always think about the other. To be truly kind to people is to be considerate, right? You have to be considerate of other people. Always think that, what I'm doing now might be inconveniencing somebody else. So let me do it this way so that they are not inconvenienced. And if it's a case of I'm going to have a big party in my apartment tonight or in some few days, okay, fine, but then at least, you could be notifying your neighbors. Neighbors, next weekend, it will be my birthday. Just to let you know, it might be a bit noisy from the hours of 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 1 o'clock a.m. Please let me know if it's okay with you. If not, I will try to arrange a different venue. At least that's good, and I'm sure that most people will react positively to that, So that's my video today, right? Be better than that, right? Stop being selfish if you are. And if you're not, and you're a kind person, a decent person, run away from those who are selfish, like the plague. If it's your boyfriend or your girlfriend, run away from them. Right? If it's a co-worker and you have the possibility of running away, run away from them. And if you can't run away, just never cave in to their requests for favors all the time. Just say, I'm really sorry, but I can't help you with that. So be considerate of others. Be polite. Be courteous. Be kind. And be better every single day. Cheers.